Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be going over all the new 1.17 blocks, items, and mobs. So just to get this out of the way, I'm going to just be going over like the basics of all these things. If you want me to go more in depth of each item and make a specific video on these things, then let me know and I can go over like like the geodes in a future video. But yeah, for people who don't know, 1.17 is part 1 of Caves and Cliffs, so it just brought all like basically the blocks, items, and mobs, while the part 2 will bring all the new world generation and the warden. So if you're coming into this update wondering where's all the new world generation, that is why. And there's specific reasons of why they split it, and I won't get into depth into that. So let's start. So we have all the deep slate stuff. So we have the normal deep slate, which you find at really low depths in the world, and then you have cobbled deep slate. You have the polished version, bricks, cracked bricks, tiles, cracked tiles, and then chiseled. And then the same variants for the walls. So you have the cobbled, the polished, bricks, and tiles, and then same with the stairs and the slabs. So there's a lot of building opportunities because these are very dark grays, so it makes for the, it mixes in with the dark palette if you need to build with dark blocks with stones. Along with the deep slate stuff comes with the deep slate ores. Basically, just like normal ores, if you find these ores at low depths, you find them in this deep slate version. Deep slate is basically a harder to mine stone, but you get the exact same things. Moving on to these blocks, which these have to do with the amethyst geodes that you can find in the world, and I'll probably put like an overlay while I'm talking showing a geode right now. The smooth basalt that and the calcite you find around the geode. You used to be able to find the tuff instead of the smooth basalt, but now the tuff spawns in like like andesite, granite, and diorite. Calcite is not renewable because it only spawns at the geodes, while this, you can go to the nether and find a bunch of it. And then within the actual geode, you find the amethyst block, which you can mine and, take. And then the budding amethyst, which I put string here just so it doesn't start growing, which I can actually break it while I'm talking and see if anything grows. But these basically act like mob spawners. They can't be mined or picked up, and it's basically an on-location farm. So there's actually 4 stages for these, for the amethyst to grow. So you have the small, the medium, and then basically the cluster. This is the one you want to mine to get the most amethyst shards, which you can get up to 4, and you can use fortune on them as well. But if you use silk touch, you can actually get these physical, blocks, and you can actually walk on top of them. And yeah, I thought that was interesting that they actually act as like physical blocks that you can walk through, and it's not just like like say like a flower where you walk through it. But yeah, copper. There's a lot of copper, and I didn't put the wax versions, but I'll talk about that as we go along. You find the copper ore. Unlike, like say like iron and gold, you can actually get up to 4 per ore, and if you use fortune 3, you can get up to 12. Smelt it, you get copper ingots, and I'll go over the raw variants later on. But the copper ingots can be turned into copper blocks, which these have actually started oxidizing, which this is actually perfect. So if I actually, which I should have waxed these, but if I actually go into here, these copper blocks will start oxidizing over time. So you have the normal block, you have exposed, weathered, and then oxidized. And just like here, this happened too. Yeah, they start oxidizing. So you have the normal copper blocks, which in order to get the blue one in survival, you have to leave this block out, which you craft with the ingots. And if you wax it at any of these stages, then they'll stop, which I didn't do like like a dummy. So they started oxidizing as I was setting this up. So you have the cut copper, which is basically just like a a fancier version, kind of just like the stones. And then the stair and slab variants, which is only the cut version. So you can't have like normal copper block stairs and slabs, which I guess is fine. But yeah, if you wax these, like I said, it stops at any stage. There is actually a use for waxing the final stage, because if lightning actually strikes it, it reverts it back to the beginning. And you can actually use an axe to unwax it if you don't want it waxed. Moving on to dripstone. You have the dripstone block and then, the pointed dripstone. It can go up or down. If you broke it, it would fall, or if you landed on it, it would hurt you. Basically, each block it falls increases the damage by 1 heart. So, if you can make traps, kind of like anvil traps. It hasn't collected any yet because it takes a long time, but if you actually put lava right above the dripstone block and then hang pointed dripstone and put it over a cauldron, you can actually make a renewable lava source for the first time ever. This allows you to obviously collect lava once the cauldron's full. So you'd want to make multiple of these. Otherwise, it would be a very long process just to get 1 bucket. All right, raw items. So iron, copper, and gold now drop raw items, which it basically, in a way, acts the same as like the old way they acted. So like you still have to smelt the raw versions to get the ingots, but now you can fortune all of them. So like I said, iron and gold act just like it. Like say if you were to fortune it, just like diamonds, but copper it drops more, kind of like redstone and lapis. So fortune obviously gives you more. You can use these raw items to make the raw blocks, but I don't believe you can revert these back. So you do have to be careful. Moving on to tinted glass. Tinted glass is made using amethyst shards, which this can actually block out light fully. So if I should have made this smaller, but it basically, see how it blocks out light? This can be used for making mob farms if you want to make like a little window to see in without actually, making mobs not spawn. Azaleas. So you have both leaves, the normal and the flowering, and then the actual little sapling tree, the normal azalea and flowering azalea. You bone meal these, and it grows into a tree. There is no new wood, but the leaves spawn. And these will soon be like the marker for lush caves, which you actually find all these lush items I'm about to talk about. But obviously that's not going to come until 1.18. And you can find these in survival. You just have to trade with wandering traders to get these specific items that can't be crafted until they revert it to the 1.18 ways. If you're wondering what all these particle effects are, the spore blossom, which can only be hung up underneath the block, but it basically emits particle effects, in a very large radius. And then you have moss carpets and moss blocks. These, like I said, will be found in lush caves, but for now you have to trade with wandering traders. If you actually bone meal these, the block, you get the carpets and then the azalea stuff. You can also find rooted dirt, which I believe is when you bone meal this, I think it's when you grow the azalea. I haven't messed around too much with this, but then if you have exposed blocks underneath, you can get the hanging roots, which actually has a random rotation depending on what block you put it at. And then you have small drip leaves, which can only be placed in water. And then you have the big drip leaf, which you can actually stand on and it slowly collapses. So you can make timed parkour and it will, restore itself. If you actually power it with redstone, it won't collapse. So that's also a fun fact. And I believe if you actually hit it with a bow, it should. Maybe because it's, there we go. You have to hit it at a certain angle, but it'll actually collapse. But yeah, you can use these for decoration or a timed staircase, I guess. And then next, you can actually find these naturally in caves already. This is glow lichen. If I actually make it nighttime, it emits a small amount of light. It's basically just to light up the caves just a little bit, but not obviously prevent mobs from spawning. So that's fun. The all the new candles. So you have the normal candle, and then all of the 16 colors available. You just like like the sea pickles, you can stack them from 1, 2, 3, 4, and then if you light it with a flint and steel, they light up. But yeah, here's all the colors if you want to see, and then you can also put it on a cake, but you can only put it on. You only can put one candle on a cake, but it's a cool little feature for a birthday cake. Lightning rod. This is crafted using 3 copper ingots. Basically, and I think it's a chunk radius, or it might be a little smaller, but basically it prevents lightning striking elsewhere when this lightning rod's in the area. Lightning will always hit it if lightning strikes nearby. This is good for putting on your roof. Say if you like building, like out of wood for your roofs, you can prevent, your house burning down. So it's a cool little feature. It could also be used for farms, and it also emits redstone. So it's a cool little feature. Powder snow and goats. So out of what I've done in survival already, I don't know if you can actually find it naturally. I don't know if that's going to be a thing in 1.18 once the actual mountains come out, or if I just wasn't lucky to find any. But the one way you can actually get this is if you put a cauldron out in a snow biome in it. If it starts snowing, it'll slowly fill up, kind of, like with the dripstone pouring into the cauldron. This is a trap block, so if I actually fall into it, your screen will start turning blue and snowy. And if I was actually in survival, once I start shivering, like now, my hearts would start turning blue, and I would start taking freeze damage. You also can't really jump out of it. If I see, it's a trap block. If I wore leather boots, I could walk right over it. Some mobs are actually immune to the cold effect, like like strays or polar bears. Some can walk straight over this, like rabbits. So you can actually get the advancement if you wore leather boots over it. The goats, they won't have a use until 1.18 because they'll drop their goat horn. So they're just a fun mob to have if you want to keep one right now. Maybe gather them before the update. Prepare for the next update, but for now they're just fun little animals to keep. There is actually a screaming goat variant that I think it's supposed to be a reference off of the old screaming goat meme, so that's fun. The glow squid is actually supposed to be here, but he despawned. I started doing the axolotl, and then I realized the glow ink is here. But yeah, the glow squid. The mob vote, which I actually voted for, don't hate on me, because I thought it would be cool. They don't actually emit light to the world, but they glow themselves. And until the new generation comes in, you have to find these in dark ocean caves, I guess. But they actually drop the glow ink sack, which can be used to craft the glow item frames, which you've seen throughout the video. Which if I actually make it nighttime, they glow a little and these emit light, and it actually makes the item within the item frame, glow, which is it's quite helpful. Like if you put a map, obviously it takes up the whole item frame, so you can have lit up maps. The also, people already know that you can put dye on signs, and that's cool, but sometimes it's hard to see. And I used a dark oak sign, which you just saw a second ago. The black text was hard to see, so you could be like, yeah, I'm gonna dye it. But the glow ink sac can actually be used to give it a glow outline like this, and you actually get an advancement. But it makes it really easy to read now, which I thought was really cool. So I'm actually going to leave it nighttime for one of the last things, so bear with me. The axolotl, which is next. This guy comes in a few different variants of colors. So you have this white version, and then there's the pink, the yellow, and the brown. And then there's also a super rare version, which is rarer than a pink sheep. It's blue and gold. And if you use a bucket to pick it up, you know, he goes in the little bucket and then he becomes your friend. You could feed it tropical fish, which you actually have to use the bucket version. And that's how you breed them. And, you know, they kind of become better friends with you and they fight along with you. You know, they fight different sea creatures. And then there's actually an advancement if you time an attack with the axolotl, you know, like basically like a team up. So I thought that was cool. Glowberries. As of now in 1.17, you can only find these in mineshaft chest. So yeah, you gotta find a mineshaft, find the little minecart chest, and then you find them. When you plant them, they'll grow and they have to hang. You know, they'll look like this, which, you know, is cool. And you can actually climb these, which is really cool. But if you actually bone meal them, they grow the glowberries, which emits, you know, a decent amount of light actually, which it makes for a new vine and obviously climbable, but then also a light source and also a food source, which it only gives one hunger. So I'm gonna make it day for the final thing, which is the telescope or spyglass, I guess. This thing is crafted using 2 copper ingots and an amethyst shard, which I actually have Optifine on right now. So if I look at this goat, you know, that's a decent zoom, right? But if I use the spyglass, it's even further, and I guess you can combine them too, which it's kind of hard to control, but like the sign, you know, you can kind of make out what it says. If I use Optifine zoom, yeah, you can see it, but like if I use the spyglass, you can see it even better. So it's actually, and if you hit F1, you know, to get rid of your HUD, you know, you don't have the overlay, which I'm sure texture packs or resource packs will allow you to like change this outline to something else, which you might have seen if you've watched my last video, my little short video that I did. But yeah, this, if I missed anything, please let me know, but I believe this is everything in the 1.17 update. All the new blocks, items, and mobs in this update. So yeah, if you want me to go more in depth on any of these items, let me know which one, and then I'll do a specific video on these. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new to my channel. It would help me a lot. Although we're decent ways away, still we're heading for the goal of 1K subs. So it would mean a lot to me if you left a subscribe and like. Share the channel with your friends if you think they would like the content. And I'll see you guys in the next video. See you guys.